Hello there, welcome into the first edition of the 2014 SAU Football Coaches Show. I'm Daniel Gallegos, joined alongside head football coach Bill Keopple. And coach, first coaches show of the season. That means obviously the 2014 season is fastly approaching. You've got fall camp coming up here soon. Your players will be reporting, but kind of the first thing to maybe look forward to, first bit of newsworthy stuff, preseason coaches poll has come out today. Your team picked 5th to finish in the Great American Conference. That's, of course, a poll done by the head coaches in the Great American Conference. So you're right there about middle of the way in the 11-member conference. Do you think that's a fair assessment going into this year?
Well, you know, I mean, what are preseason polls really good for? I mean, you know, you can't vote for yourself. You know, it's based off basically what you, the history of your program, what you've been doing. So that obviously that speaks pretty well for us, and the respect other coaches have for us in the league right now. And then if they look at us, you know, I mean, well, they're looking at Southern Arkansas, whether they lost their quarterback that just set a bunch of records there, and they lost their tailback, all-time leading rusher there, so they got to replace those. That's big. That's big. They lost 2 all-conference linebackers, so they lost some really key guys. I don't know if they can replace them, and you know, I know I like being in the mix of it where we're at. But I don't put a whole lot of stock in the preseason polls.
Well, again, you know, we're talking about it's kind of based off of what happened last year. Last year, your team finished 6-4, back-to-back winning seasons, first time since 2002, 2003. So that's a very good step moving forward here in your program going into your 6th year. But you know, from people on the outside of the program, they're kind of looking at it, yes, as unknowns. You know, you lost Tyler Secor, you lost Mark Johnson, your 2 first-team all-conference linebackers. So from the outside, it looks like there's not a whole lot coming back, but you and I both know that that's not the case. There were some talented guys that were red-shirted and some other reserves that will be asked to step up, and then also inevitably newcomers coming into the mix. So if we could just kind of run through some of those, I guess first and foremost, the position that kind of seems to get the most publicity anyways, kind of offensively at the quarterback position.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, quarterback position is an area we had to address in recruiting. We did. We brought in four quarterbacks. Cyrus Blackshire was here already with us, a young man that, you know, played some junior college football, was very successful at it. We tried to recruit him out of Kilgore Junior College, and he chose Sam Houston over us. Went there, and obviously they had a pretty good quarterback in place since they went to the finals 2 years in a row, and he didn't get the job, and decided to transfer here. And came in here. It was a situation, Tyler Secor had already been our starting quarterback for a year. Cyrus is more than capable of being a starting quarterback for a lot of people. And you know, he waited his turn. That's the positive with him. He was patient. A lot of guys wouldn't have stuck around for that. He's very talented. He can throw the football. You know, just the fact that he hadn't had game experience is the only concern that you'll have with him right now. But everything else is solid. He's a strong guy. He can run it, throw it, do it all. And so we're very confident with Cyrus. Very confident in his ability and what he can do for our football team this year. Obviously, we won't know exactly until we get out there and play Southeast. But we're looking forward to it, and I think he can get the job done, no doubt about it.
What about the running back spot? Mark Johnson, nearly 1,000-yard rusher again last year, losing that kind of production. What can we look forward to in the backfield?
You know, we got a lot of running backs. We got a lot of talented running backs here at Southern Arkansas right now. I mean, you know, I think we're about 9 deep. Probably the best group we've ever had by far. You know, you have people, Deon Williams that has been sitting in the wings here, DeAndre Jenkins, a young man that kind of burst out a little bit when Mark was out some last year, and really had a great spring for us. Big, physical, can run. Running back's going to be very solid for us. You know, Mike Nunnerly, Kayron Desmuke, you know, you can go down the line of those guys right there. Just an outstanding group of talented running backs. So one thing we have done at our running back position here at Southern Arkansas, we've gotten a lot faster at the tailback position with the addition of Dwight Smith in our program here working out on campus this summer with us and in schools. We're really excited about him. A 235-pound back that can run as fast as he can is pretty impressive. So we're excited to see him out on the field. He's been out of the game a couple of years. We'll have to dust off a little rust, but coming out of high school, he's one of the most talented kids to ever come out of the state of Texas.
What about the wide receiving core? Headlining that group coming back is Zacharias Ware, also as a kick return specialist for you. But there's going to be a lot of new faces in the wide receiver core. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, totally revamped. I mean, yeah, Z had a good year returning kicks for us, had a much better spring, really grew as a receiver and catching and running the ball after the catch. Brandon Hobney's another guy that played a lot for us last year that will be back. You know, we lost some key receivers last year, and we had to go out and replace them, and we've done that. Had a young man transfer in here from Memphis, University of Memphis, Tanner Hudson, that you know, he's a 6'4", 6'5" kid that can run fast, jump, smart, tough, everything you want. Good hands, you name it, he's got it. And he may be as talented a receiver as ever lined up out here in Southern Arkansas. So we're excited about him. We've, you know, obviously Wise Height was in our program. A guy we redshirted last year out of Frisco area, had a great spring practice with us. Guy's just got a knack of getting open and catching the ball. Tevin McDonald's still in our program, very solid player for us. Went out this summer, and Jacob Arnell, a young man out of Santa Barbara, is coming to be with us. Young man that was their go-to guy out there. Obviously, I know Coach Moropoulos. We coached together at Boise State, and so it was a nice in for me to really trust what the coach had to say, plus what we saw on film. Really liked it. And picked up another young man, Aaron Johnson, transfer out of the University of Houston, out of Longview. Played quarterback at Longview. He's been playing receiver at the University of Houston. Young man's already graduated, going to be doing graduate work here. Still has a year of eligibility left, so very talented guy. Seen him on film. He's a big-time receiver. So we really feel like we've addressed it. Not to mention the 5 high school seniors that we signed last year that we thought we got some really good ones out of the high schools. You know, Sidney Moore out of Conway, Caitlin Burks out of Malvern, Hicks out of Strong, Dews out of White House. I mean, you know, really a nice group of receivers there. So we're very excited about that group right there. We really feel like we've upgraded our receiver position.
One of the areas on the offensive side of the ball that is going to remain rather consistent from last year coming into this year is your offensive line. You're projected to probably start 4. That 4 linemen that started last year, but you might even throw in a mix of 5 guys who all had starting experience last year. What does that do kind of for an offense that, you know, obviously, as we've talked about, there's going to be some new faces there, but to have the continuity there on the offensive line. Yeah,
you know, obviously continuity in offensive line is very important. I mean, we had 2 young men come in here last year as true freshmen and played for us and played well for us, and they're very good players with Dylan Beaver at our center position, Chris Paul at our right guard position, young men that started games for us, very solid guys. You know, with John Miller, a veteran 2-year starter for us, Nick Nichols, a 2-year starter for us, coming back, and they've gotten better, more talented. You know, I'm just very excited about our offensive line, what we can do. DeMarte Clayton, a young man here from Magnolia that has started many games for us here. Really, the only hiccup we've had in our offensive line was with Jonathan Greenidge getting hurt this spring and having to have knee surgery, and don't know for sure if he's going to be back yet. So, but we've got some other guys waiting in the wings that you know, can get the job done for us. Should be a strong suit of our football team, our offensive line, and the ability we have. We're more talented, more athletic than we've ever been in the offensive line here.
Shifting over to the defensive side of the ball, I think one of the things that stands out is the loss of your linebackers last year. Last year, going into the year, that was a strength. Yeah. You had several senior linebackers that a couple years in the program that were go-to guys, some all-conference guys, and Mark Spate and Tate Mustin, no longer in the program due to graduation. So just kind of talk about having to fill their void, as it was a strength last year, the guys that are coming in.
Well, obviously, big void. Big void. We tried to address it 2 years ago, knowing that it was coming, and brought in some really nice young linebackers here. You know, Aaron Wynn and Corey Jenkins, Garrett Turnbull. You know, those guys right there are going to be good players for us in time. You know, still in the learning process, growing up process. So we didn't want to wait around, make sure, you know, have to put it all on their shoulders. So we went out this summer and picked up a couple, you know, transfers. Isaiah Lewis, young man that was at Morgan State last year, out of Cedar Hill in Texas. Young man Dominic Kelly out of Navarro, played at Corsicana High School. He was second leading tackler on the team this last year. A very talented young man. But you know what? We've got some veterans too. I mean, you look at Luke Lansdale, a guy that would have been starting probably anywhere else but Southern Arkansas, that played a lot of football and has played a lot here. I think he's as good a linebacker as there is in our league. And you know, Hayden Rubisky's going to play a lot. You know, Soto's going to play a lot. Ivan Ramos, we got a lot of guys there. We got a lot of talented guys there, and we've got a nice mix of age and youth. It's going to be really good.
Talk a little bit about the defensive line. You got a couple of guys who are back that kind of jump to mind, Nolan Duncan and Philip Garr, some guys who have seen some significant playing time over the past couple of years. But talk about the rest of the line. Those guys are maybe more so interior guys. Who you expected on the outside?
Well, you know, those two guys right there, the two that you mentioned, Nolan Duncan and Philip Garr, are you know, the mainstay for us in our defensive line. They're very talented guys. They're strong, physical, got everything you're looking for. Love them on our football team, and both of them have all conference potential. You know, with Calvin Lyons right behind them, another 275-pounder that looks like $1 million out there in shorts running around this summer. And you know, so and there's some other guys in the mix there in the middle. You know, right now defensive end is probably maybe the biggest question mark on our defensive line right now. Obviously, there's a lot of adjustment we can do. We went out and really addressed that in recruiting of a lot of high school kids. I think we brought in 9 high school kids in the defensive line this year. Obviously, we got you know, a transfer guy that was with us a year ago that didn't do well in school. We got him back with Alan Dixon coming back to us, so we're excited to get him back in the program. But you know, with our defensive end, Malachi Pointer, a young man we recruited last year, very talented, can run, one of the defensive end positions, and Corn Dog Watson, you know, out of El Dorado. Corn Dog, man, he had a great spring for us and just made plays everywhere. So I'm excited about that young man. He's been in the program a long time and has developed into a really good football player. So, you know, and he's a leader on our football team. But, you know, if I start naming all the names that are behind that group right there, there's a bunch of them. And it's a talented group. I mean, you don't look through that group anywhere and say, well, this guy can't play for us. Every one of them have the potential to be good players for us, and under Coach Upshaw's direction, I feel very confident of how we're going to be in the defensive line.
Lastly, on the defensive side, you know, the defensive backfield, that's probably one of the areas that, like the linebackers were last year, is probably going to be one of the bigger strengths on your defense this year. Just with experienced guys coming back, you've got some talented corners, Quan Warren, Vincent Stewart, who are back. Safeties, James Thurston, Demario Thomas. So just talk about them and kind of the luxury it is to have that kind of experience coming back.
Well, you know, it's nice. I mean, we haven't had that. You know, those guys, those 4 names you mentioned right there, will be as strong as a group of secondary guys as there is in our league. You know, and you throw Chris Wilson in the mix right there, and Elgin Moore in the mix right there, and there's some other guys waiting in the wings there. We went out and really addressed that, knowing that we're going to lose a lot of seniors after this year. We addressed it big, and we went out and signed 5 of, I think, the most talented secondary guys we've ever signed in one group here, ever. And some of those are going to compete right off the bat, I tell you what. And so we're very excited about our secondary and the ability we have back there. It's going to free us up to do a lot more things up front than we've been able to ever do. And so, you know, we're just ready to get them all in. We got a lot of guys here on campus working hard this summer, a lot, and more than we've ever had by a long shot. And they've been working hard, getting after it, and we just can't wait to get them in on the 13th and get going.
One other area that we'll talk about that kind of maybe gets overlooked sometimes is special teams. Talk a little bit about the special teams aspect going into the year.
Well, you know, Dylan Nowak, I mean, he's he really did a nice job for us punting last year. A guy that you really don't worry about him getting the ball out. He gets it out quick, and he can adjust. You know, he can rugby kick, he can straight on kick it. So we feel very solid there. Tanner Hudson's a very good punter too. You know, and there's a 6'5" guy that can throw it, played quarterback, can run it, can do it all. So he's going to put a big stress on them if he's the guy back there. So, you know, obviously I think we'll start the year to be Dylan Nowak, and he'll probably do most all of the kicking duties starting the year out. We have a freshman, 2 freshmen actually coming in that we brought in. That you know, it's just a matter of how they handle the situation as to whether they're going to kick for us some this year, and we'll find that out in fall camp with those guys. You know, we got solid guys around it with our deep snapper Pumphrey coming back, our holder Bell's back, and the good news is the depth and the talent we have on our football team for our cover teams, and that's critical. A lot of people overlook that. You know, and it's all based off of how much quality depth you have on your football team. And our coverage teams, special teams should be very strong and deep this year. So we're excited about it. We got really good return guys and excited about it. Can't wait to see them.
Well, again, we appreciate it very much for your time. Head football coach Bill Keopple, the Mule Riders, will start to report to fall camp here in the next couple of weeks with your eye on the season opener. That will be Saturday, September 6th at 6 p.m. against Southeastern Oklahoma. There'll be a home game here at Wilkins Stadium. It's also family day, so great opportunity to get your first opportunity to come out and see the Mule Riders in 2014. And Coach, we wish you all the best of luck.
I appreciate it.